going to start by titling my page. I want to get everything organized here. So this is geometry. And we are now in Unit 2, which is all about triangles. Okay, so we talked a little bit about triangles yesterday. We talked about some of the properties of triangles, some of the things that will always be true about every triangle, no matter what. You guys remember any of those things we talked about yesterday? What's something that we know about triangles and their angles, for instance?
There are sums of multiple angles.
Say that one more time.
There are sums of multiple angles.
There are sums of multiple angles. We can add them up. What happens when we add them up?
That's up to 180.
Perfect. Yes. Anytime we have a triangle, the sum of their angles will always be equal to 180 degrees. Perfect. We know that a triangle always has 3 angles, and we know it always has 3 sides. So let's take a look at the Do Now worksheet that you guys were working on, and we're going to come right back to these notes in a moment. I had you guys work on this here. And I don't have an answer key made, or do I? Let me check. I do. Okay. So, how far did you guys get on this? What number did you get to? You got them all done? Nice. How about you,
I
Ritson?
did them right.
Say that one more time.
I don't think I did them right.
You don't think you did them right? Okay. Well, tell me, how did you set up your equation? How did you try to solve for the missing angle?
I took the angles right here and here, subtracted them, and that's what I got.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the right way.
Oh, do you mean you did like 63 minus 37?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So if we did that, we would get a unique number, but that wouldn't be the proper way to set up the equation to solve for this missing angle here, u. But that's okay. That's why we talk about it every day. We're learning, guys. So if I know that these 3 angles added together give me a total of 180 degrees, Lexus, could you tell me, how did you set up your equations for these problems?
I did u plus t plus v equals 180. So
Yeah. I'm going to write that down. In this case, our triangle, instead of ABC like we've been doing, we have a U, a T, and a V. So I know that angle U plus angle T plus angle V, when I add them together, I am going to get 180 degrees because this is a triangle. So what did you do next?
So then I bring the u down.
Mm-hmm.
Then I plus it. I bring the t down, which is 37.
Okay.
Plus I bring the v down, which is 63.
Okay, so we kind of replaced those values with what we know. So I know t is 37. So I'm going to write that, 37. We know v is 63. And we don't know u. So that's what we would be solving for here. So u plus 37 plus 63 equals 180 degrees again. Okay, and what did you do next?
Then I bring the u down again.
Okay.
And then I did 37 plus 63,
Mm-hmm.
which is 100.
Okay, so we got 100. So you had u plus 100 equals 180. Okay.
Then you would subtract 100 on both sides.
Perfect. Minus 100 on both sides.
And then u equals 80.
Perfect. U equals 180 minus 100. That gives us 80. So our answer for number 1, the measure of angle U is 80 degrees. Perfect. Okay. All right. So we got number 1. That one is absolutely correct. Now let's check number 2. So Savannah or Ritson, one of you, I want one of you to step up and tell me how you might solve number 2.
You do 90 plus 46 plus B equals 180.
Yes, that is perfect. 90 plus 46 plus B equals 180. Okay, what would we do next?
You add them together.
90 plus 46. What's that gonna give me?
136.
You got 136? Perfect. That is correct.
Okay.
136, and I'll bring the rest of it down, plus B equals 180. And what would my last step here be?
Right.
Perfect. Subtract 136 from both sides. I'm so out of room. B is equal to, let's see, what's 180 minus 136? 44. Perfect. So the measure of angle B is 44 degrees. Wonderful. Okay. How about number 3? You want to walk me through this one, Savannah?
36 plus 51
Mm-hmm.
is Q, and then you put that equal to 180. Six, 51 together,
Mm-hmm.
87.
87.
I'm not using a calculator.
Okay, I can double check it, but I'm looking at it and that looks right. 6 plus 1 is 7, 3 plus 5 is 8. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. We'll bring the rest of our equation down. Okay, and what would we do next?
87.
Yes, ma'am. Minus 87. What's that going to give us? 93. Amazing. 93 degrees. Wonderful. Okay, so let's do one more together, just for good measure. How about number 4? Number 4, I've got E, F, and G, and I need to figure out angle F. Any one of you.
So I did 47
Mm-hmm.
plus F plus 86.
Perfect. And what after those 3 added?
Oh, I got 180.
Yes, equals 180. Perfect, perfect.
So then I added 47 plus 86 was 133.
Awesome. 133 plus F
Equals 180.
equals 180. Okay, and then what's your last step here?
Then I subtracted 133 on both sides.
Good. Minus 133 on both sides. That is gonna give me
47.
F equals 47. Wonderful. So for number 4, the measure of angle F is 47 degrees. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm going to zoom out here for a second, and I am going to write the rest of our answers, and I want you guys to compare with what you might have come up with. So as I'm writing these, if you haven't solved them yet, go ahead and work on them for a minute, and let's see how well we did. So number 5. I won't say them out loud in case you don't want to look yet. There we go. All right, so Lexus, I know you said you finished them all. How'd you do? You got, girl, nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. So I will let you two finish working for just a minute. And it's okay if you don't finish it completely. This is all just practice. So we can do a little bit more on that in a bit. Pause it. Okay, so now we've got this worksheet. The first 4 questions on this one are exactly like what we just did. So we're actually going to just skip over them for right now. And I want us to start by looking at number 5. This one is really funky. So we have not done something like this yet. What do you guys think when you see this?
180.
Ooh, what's 180?
Wouldn't you just ignore the lines coming off of it? Like, wouldn't it still equal 180?
Yeah, so my angles inside of my triangle will equal 180. But they only give us one angle. So I can't really solve for the other two because they don't tell us that they're the same. So what else do they give us? I have 102 degrees. What other measure do we know? We know 137. Can we find any of the other angles using that 137?
On the other side,
Which side? What are you talking about?
at the bottom, because wouldn't that equal the same thing?
Well, we don't know that
Uh-oh.
because we're not told that they're the same. There's no parallel lines happening. There's no special relationship here. We just don't know what this is.
Because it's 180, you would solve for that by using the 180.
We are going to use 180. Now, when you say we would solve for that, what do you mean by that?
Like the straight line instead of
The one that's going up and down?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so this is a unique situation. Whenever we are looking for an angle that we don't know and we don't have enough information to find it, I don't know what this angle is, and I don't know what this angle is. There is nothing that's going to help me solve this right now. That means that we need to look elsewhere and see what we can find. So Savannah just noticed that this angle here that I highlighted and this angle, when you put them together, they make 180 degrees because this is just a straight line. You see that? That's a 180 degree angle right there. So we could go ahead and solve for that orange angle. Let's try and set that up. How would I solve for that orange angle? Maybe we can give it a name. Let's call it A. How would we do that?
So now you would put A plus 37
Uh-huh.
plus 102.
So we're just solving for this first. Right now, we're not going to use this.
But 37 plus 8 equals 180.
Yeah, exactly. So let's do that. I know 137 plus whatever angle A is, when I add them together, they're going to equal 180 degrees. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's solve for A. What would I do first?
Subtract 137.
Yes, let's subtract 137 from both sides of our equation. Okay. And what is that going to make my answer? 43? You're probably right. Did you use a calculator?
No.
Mental math? You're good at mental math, girl. I don't know if I can do all that. Let me think. 3. Yep, you are correct. 43. A equals 43. So now we have another measure. I know that angle A, let me get a skinny pen I can write with. I know angle A is 43 degrees. Okay. So now I have two angles in my triangle. I still can't solve for the missing angle they want, the question mark. What could I solve for now? You think?
The one on the other side.
Yeah, let's name these. I think before we do these, we should be naming them first because it's confusing trying to describe them. Let me get another color. Do this. Okay, let's call this B. And how about we call this question mark C? Okay, so how are we going to solve for angle B? Let's ignore what we don't need. We know that angle A is 43 degrees. We know that the second angle is 102 degrees. We're just missing B.
43 plus 102 plus B equals 180.
Yes, perfect. I know that those three angles, when I add them together, I'm going to get 180 degrees because every triangle has 180 degrees in it. So let's set that up. So 43 plus 102 plus B equals 180. Okay. Now let's just do our normal steps to solve this. What should we do first?
43 plus 102.
Yeah, let's combine those like terms. 102 plus 43, that should give us 145, plus B equals 180. And what's the last thing we need to do here now?
Subtract.
Yeah, let's subtract 145 from both sides. Okay. And that's going to give us B equals, find out. Mental math, guys, that's not my strong suit. Is it, what'd you say?
Is it 35 or is it 25?
I think it is 35, but let me double check. This one.
I'm not good at mental math, but like
I am not either. It is 35. Okay, so we have angle B. But we still haven't found the missing angle. It's a process. Okay. So what's this? What you just missed is we just found the third angle of our triangle. So now, can we finally find out what C is? Yes, finally. How are we going to do it?
Do what we did in the first step.
Mhm.
Just get the numbers.
Yeah, B and C are, you guys remember this word, supplementary? Means they add up to 180 degrees. They make a straight line. So let's set up an equation here. 35. And then what else am I going to write?
Plus C.
Yes. Yes. 35 plus C equals 180. Okay. And how do we find C? Perfect. Minus 35. Both sides. And that will give me C equals
Perfect.
145.
145.
Perfect. 145. And since we finally found the question mark, we're going to circle that number. That's our answer. 145. Took a lot of steps to get there, but it is possible. It is possible. Okay. Before we move on to another one, do any of you have any questions about number 5? Or any part of it, does any part of it maybe confuse you a little and you want to talk about it more? Okay, let's try number 6 then. Okay, so I'm going to do what I said I would do. I'm going to label all my angles first because it's a little tough to describe them every time. So I have a 35-degree angle. Make that green. And inside my triangle, I have a 100-degree angle. Make that orange. Let's make our question mark blue again. I'm going to call it C. "35-degree angle A and 100 B. And we probably want to name the angles that are also inside the triangle. So let's call this one D. And E. So what are we thinking? Is there anything that right off the bat, we can figure out? Ooh, how do you find out angle D?
I don't know what it was called, but they're the same.
Yes, they are. These angles A and D, they're called vertical angles. Vertical angles have the same measure. So angle A is congruent to angle D. So what is the measure of angle D then? 35. Perfect. Okay. So now that we have angle D figured out, can we find anything else?
E.
E. Awesome. So how are we going to do that?
Plus 100 plus E equals 180.
Yeah, 35 plus 100 plus E equals 180 degrees. Okay. So I'm looking at this equation. How am I going to solve it?
35 of 30.
Yes, 35 plus 100, what's that make? 135. We'll bring the rest down. Plus E equals 180. What next? Subtraction. We're going to subtract 135 from both sides. Get that E by itself. I will get E equals what?
45?
45. Good. So angle E is 45 degrees. Label that. Okay. My goal was to find the measure of angle C. Can I do that now? I sure can. How could we set that equation up? 45 plus C equals 180. Tell me, guys, how are you solving this one?
45.
Yes. Subtracting 45 from both sides. What's that going to give me? Yes, thank you, thank you. C is 135, and that was what we wanted, so we will circle it. Good job, guys. Okay, so I'll leave that up for a second. But what we just did here, guys, is we were working with and solving, setting up equations with different types of angles that triangles can have. So the ones that are inside a triangle, we call those interior angles. And I'm going to write this out on notes once I move this. Does anybody still need this paper? Okay, let's scooch it over then. So back to the notes. Triangles have a few different types of angles that we talk about. I'm going to draw a picture to explain. First, I'm going to draw a triangle. I'm going to give it some of those funky little arms coming off. Okay. And then I'm going to color code my angles here. I've got angle A, angle B, angle C. Here, we've got angle D and angle E. Now, we're not solving for anything right now. We're just going to label these. So, angles A, B, and C are what we call interior angles. Those are just the angles that are inside of a triangle. And then angles D and E, those are our exterior angles. And a really easy way to remember that is interior is inside. There you go. Perfect. So we know that we can always solve for a missing interior angle by setting up one of those equations where everything is added together and equal to 180. And the exterior angles, we also know that the exterior angle that is adjacent to the interior angle, so like C and E, for example, they are always going to be supplementary. They're also going to always add up to 180. So when we're working with triangles, 180 is the magic number. We are using it a lot. A lot. So we could write these statements here. I know A plus B plus C equals 180. And if I pair A plus D or C plus E, that'll also give us 180 degrees. Just a couple of things to know about those types of angles. I'll let you guys finish writing that. So let me ask you this, guys. What if I had 3 angles and I wanted to figure out if those 3 angles made a triangle? So here's that third worksheet. Let's go ahead and pull this out here. The one where we have 10 questions, and the questions are asking us about, if I were to give you these 3 angles, do they make a triangle? Could we tell if the sets of angles make a triangle just by looking at the numbers? We could. How could we tell? Yeah. So if I add 86 degrees plus 53 degrees plus 41 degrees, we'll see what the answer is. So let's see, let's add them. 86 plus 53 plus 41. You tell me what you guys get. 180. Okay, so when I add those angles up together, I get 180 degrees. So could these be the angles in a triangle?
Yeah.
Yes, they could. So we're going to write yes. Perfect. How about number 2? Let's see, I'm going to add them all together. You tell me when you find what this sum is.
Yeah.
Ooh, what number did you get? Yeah, 187 degrees. So why would this not make a triangle?
How much?
It's too much. We're going to have one of our edges, or not edges, one of the vertex, one of the points of the triangle. Those lines are not going to reach each other because the angle will be open too big. So we would just say no. That's too big. That is not a triangle. How about number 3?
No.
Why? What number did you get?
1, 2, 3.
Ooh, 160. So why is that not a triangle?
Less than 180.
Yes, it's less than 180. It's too small. No. It would not be a triangle. How about number 4? Last one I'm going to have you do right now. Yes, they make 180.
Yeah.
Perfect. 180 degrees. So our answer would be yes. Okay, so we know that angles have to add up to 180. It can't be less, it can't be more. That's how we get a triangle. Now, for the triangles that we were able to say are possible for numbers 1 and 4, let's talk about the different types of triangles that there are. There's 3 types we're going to talk about today, and this is the last thing we'll learn today. So, one more thing for your notes. First type of triangle we're going to talk about is a right triangle. Then we're going to talk about an acute triangle. And I didn't give myself quite enough room. Last but not least, we'll talk about an obtuse triangle. So in the last unit, we very briefly talked about right angles or acute angles or obtuse angles. What do you guys think these might refer to in terms of triangles?
Right ones have 90 degrees.
Yeah, we're going to have a 90-degree angle in a right triangle. So let's start by drawing as close as you can to a 90-degree angle, just like that. So before we finish the triangle and draw the third side, I'm going to ask you this. Would it be possible to have more than one right angle in a triangle? No, why not? Yeah, it would have to be a square. That's absolutely right. Or it would have to at least be a 4-sided shape. So we're gonna label our little box for the 90-degree angle, and we're gonna go ahead and connect this in to make our right triangle. So a right triangle is a triangle with one 90-degree angle. Good. Now let me ask you this. You guys remember what acute and obtuse mean? Okay, perfect. So in a right triangle, would it be possible to have a right angle and an obtuse angle? No, why not?
I feel
Doesn't
like
make
it
sense.
is.
You think it's possible?
Cause like if it's obtuse, then like the others would be like, the other angles would be acute.
It measures, our
Like
two
they
measures
have
more
to.
than 90.
So let's think about it. An obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees. So I already have one angle that's 90 degrees. If I add another angle that is more than 90, what is that going to give me with just those two angles? 90 plus something more than 90. More than 180. So it wouldn't be a triangle. So the answer there that we're looking for is no, we cannot have any obtuse angles. If we have a right triangle, it's always going to be one 90-degree angle with two acute angles. Now, that's not something I'm going to ask you, just a little fun fact. So I'm going to label this with orange since I wrote the word acute in orange. Why not? Okay. Now, acute triangle. Let's start by drawing an acute angle. So that's just an angle that's less than 90 degrees. And then I'm just going to connect those ends there. So an acute triangle is a triangle that is made up of 3 acute angles. Every angle has to be acute. So it would be a triangle where every angle is less than 90 degrees. So every single one of these angles has to be less than 90. Because as soon as one of the angles becomes 90 degrees, you have a right triangle. And as soon as one of the angles is bigger than 90 degrees, what do you think that kind of triangle would be? An obtuse triangle. So that moves us to obtuse. I want to draw an obtuse triangle. Looks kind of like this. An obtuse triangle is a triangle with one angle that is bigger than 90 degrees. So a triangle with one angle that is bigger than 90 degrees. All right. So now that we know about these 3 types of triangles, let's look back at these questions on our worksheet. We said that number 1 and number 4 are triangles. So what type of triangle would we have in number 1?
All right, wait. Acute.
Acute.
Not bad.
Oh, you're okay. Every single one of the angles is less than 90 degrees. So this is an acute triangle. How about number 4? Ooh, obtuse. Why is it obtuse?
There's one that's more than 90.
Yeah, we've got an angle that's 97 degrees. If you have one that's more than 90, you have an obtuse triangle. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So let's slide down to the end of our worksheet here. That is all that I'm teaching you today. So I'm giving you your exit ticket now. For your exit ticket today, I need you to complete number 7 and number 9. So I just need you to tell me, do these 3 angles make a triangle? And if they do, what kind of triangle do they make? And that is it. I'll write that on the top. Day 12. Exit. Yeah. I'll go ahead and write it down. So what?
So try to with a asterisk.
Yes, ma'am. All right, guys, I'm going to end that recording. That is all. You're free.